You are losing $12,000 a year to invisible leaks in your bank account, and the bank is happy to let it happen. Most people think they need a higher salary to build wealth, but the real path to a high net worth isn't earning more. It is plugging these specific leaks. I am going to show you three methods to stop this drainage, including one strategy almost nobody uses that forces your savings upward. Time equals sign 800 MS. Sit back, grab a cup of water, and let's get to work. Financial discipline is often framed as a chore, a grim exercise in cutting out everything you enjoy until you are left with nothing but plain toast and a spreadsheet. But the reality is quite different. Discipline is not about what you remove from your life. It is about how you architect your environment to make the right choice the default choice. Let's start with the first method, which is the easiest win you can score today. The first step is to implement what economists call pre-commitment contracts. A study conducted by researchers at Yale University found that participants who were given the option to have their savings automatically deducted from their paychecks before the money even hit their checking accounts saved 73% more than those who relied on their own willpower to transfer funds manually. Think about that for a second. If you leave the money in your account, your brain treats it as spendable income. You see the balance, you feel a little richer, and you justify that extra takeout dinner or that subscription service you barely use. But when you automate, the money ceases to exist in your reality. It goes into your investment or savings account while you are still sleeping. My friend Marcus tried this last year when he was struggling to save for a down payment. He set up an automatic transfer of $500 on the day his salary hit his bank account. At first, it felt tight. But within 2 months, he had completely adjusted his lifestyle to living on the remainder. He stopped checking his balance obsessively because he knew his obligations were already met. By the end of the year, he had $6,000 tucked away, and he barely noticed the change. This is the easiest win because it requires exactly one decision. Once the automation is active, your willpower is off the hook. You don't have to be strong every single day. You just have to be strong for the 10 minutes it takes to set up a recurring bank transfer. Okay, so that works great for the basics. But what if you want to level up? What if you have already automated your savings and you are still finding that your expenses are creeping up during the month? This brings us to the second method, which involves an audit of your micro decisions. Most people look at their big expenses like rent or car payments when they try to save, but the real leak in your bucket is usually the subtle, habitual spending that you don't even track. Ever notice how you justify spending $4 on a coffee every morning or $10 on a streaming service you watch once a month? This is called the diffusion of spending. You don't feel the pain of these purchases because they are small. A $2,000 purchase is painful, but $5 here and there is invisible. Here is how you fix it. For 30 days, I want you to perform a simple exercise called the friction test. Every time you are about to make a non essential purchase, force yourself to wait 24 hours. If you still want the item after the 24 hours have passed, you can buy it. But here is the secret. In 90% of cases, the dopamine hit of the initial impulse will have faded, and you will find that you don't actually want the item anymore. This strategy is used by high level negotiators and successful entrepreneurs to avoid bad deals, and it works exactly the same way for personal finance. If you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. I drop videos like this every week to help you get ahead. Now, this is the one I have been saving for you. This third method is the one that really separates the people who stay stuck from the people who build long term wealth. It is called the velocity of money strategy. Instead of just focusing on saving, you start focusing on the efficiency of every dollar that you earn. Most people think their income is a fixed amount that they have to live on. But financial discipline means realizing that your capital has the potential to work as hard as you do. I know a woman named Sarah who was earning roughly $60,000 a year. She wasn't high income, but she was ultra disciplined. Instead of just putting her extra cash into a standard savings account earning less than 1%, she began moving her extra money into high yield instruments and dividend paying stocks as soon as the amount hit $1,000. By forcing her capital to cycle through investments that paid her back, she created a feedback loop where her savings were generating their own revenue. After 5 years, she had $60,000 of her own principal, plus an additional $15,000 in compound growth and dividends. The key insight here is to treat your money like an employee. You wouldn't hire an employee just to have them sit in a corner and do nothing, right? Yet, that is exactly what most people do when they keep their extra money in a low interest checking account. When your money is sitting idle, it is losing value to inflation. When it is invested, it is gaining velocity. Even if you start with small amounts, the goal is to get in the habit of immediately deploying your capital. Once you see your money working, you will never want to go back to just letting it sit there. Let that sink in for a moment. The first method, automation, handles your consistency. The second method, the friction test, protects your daily behavior. And this third method, velocity of money, ensures that your savings aren't just sitting still, but are actually expanding on their own. That one shift alone can change your financial picture more than the first two methods combined. It is the transition from being a saver to being an investor, and it is a mindset shift that most people never fully make. Once you see it this way, you can't unsee it. You stop seeing $100 as a piece of paper to spend, and you start seeing it as a seed that you can plant. It changes the way you view the entire financial system. So, there you have it. Three real ways to build financial discipline, and the last one really is the game changer. You don't need a massive salary to start, and you don't need a fancy finance degree. You just need a system, a little bit of patience, and the willingness to let your money work for you. If you got value from this, share it with someone who needs to hear it and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I have something even better coming next week that will help you optimize your time as well as your money. See you then.